Antonio, I had spent some time with you at the event recently last week, and I really liked what you had to say. And I was thinking, man, I got to get this guy on the show. So tell us what you're doing in Gwinnett, about your podcast, how you got into business, and what's happening.
Well, thanks guys for having me on, and such an outstanding event the other night. I By the way, I did go ahead and step into the Mac world, Todd. Man, there's so much stuff I gotta change over.
It's
But
great once you get the hang of it, man.
yeah. So as far as War Room, shout out to Steve Bannon. Back in 2020, I noticed a lot of things about the election itself. So I went on this big hunt, searching, trying to find answers to what may have happened. And his podcast was one of the ones that I came across. So with the large span that he covers on there, so much on his show, geopolitics, national and few local kind of stuck in and there. But what I noticed about his podcast was you learn a large amount of information and informing the public. So my thing was, what if I could bring that particular action to local? So I decided to do just that. It's no secret that within education specifically, DAs are going rogue just all over the country. But the biggest problem that I found is recently, um, as I changed parties that I was supporting, my wife saw a video come down her timeline by Candace Owens, probably a little bit over a couple years ago, and she said, "Hey, hon, you need to come in here and listen to this." And our values have always been of conservative nature.
Hmm.
God, family, and country. But a
Hmm.
lot of blacks and minorities, we grew up in that particular culture, so we just kind of grafted into that whole idea. But when we heard the truth, we immediately switched.
Wow.
So as far as the War Room Gwinnett County is, like I said, I thought we should bring that particular action local and start try to connect some dots for the people here locally in our area, because a lot of it is people are working every day. They don't have time to keep up with what's going on in every single political candidate. But we don't really curate the information. We just provide the platform, let them come on there, record them live. So what the audience see is what they actually get. And also the candidates that we bring on that are running for local office, we never give them a brief of what we're going to ask them.
Mm.
So we may put them right in the hot seat. We ask them the tough questions and everything like that. And turns out is so far it's worked pretty good for what we're trying to get accomplished here. And also, what I've noticed, just paying attention to geopolitics and all of the rhetoric coming out of the World Economic Forum, with all of the building that's kind of going on everywhere, they're trying to change or in the process of changing the demographic everywhere. This is another game plan
Hmm.
from the left. And I'm out, I run a landscape company. So, I'm kind of watching things as they go on. Is it a coincidence that we got the same building, same looking neighborhoods being built all over the place? I don't think so.
Hmm.
So what's happening is by way of affordable housing, I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I'm going to put this
No,
all
go for it.
together.
You're good.
Um, but through by way of affordable housing, you're marching in my opinion, a lot of Democrat voters that are
Hmm.
not really going to assimilate to the lifestyle out in suburban America. So what happens? We get a mix of kids in the schools. So the school system is under attack. They change up the board at the school board level and implement policies where teachers can't punish the children. Principals really are not in charge of their school. So what happens in a scenario like that? As a parent, and as what parents do, their first instinct is to protect their young. That's what with any species. So the first thing they do is they pack up, move into a different area, and that's what we see happening.
Mm.
But with the war room, on the bright side of that is I really feel like with everything that the public is seeing right now, minorities and just all across the board, we have an opportunity to really take the electorate,
Hmm.
because if we can stay on message of saying, "Hey, we glad you came. This is a free country. You can move anywhere you want to, but if you moved here from a different area, there has to be a reason attached to it." So we are trying to get down to the bottom of the basics of what people are concerned with. And a lot of people want a good education, but there's responsibility and accountability that goes with it. For a long time, I was what you would say is civically not really that astute. So sometimes when people are coming from different areas, maybe lower quote unquote underserved communities, they just really don't understand what goes on behind the curtain. So there's an opportunity to have a conversation and say, hey, you know, you can have a great education and an opportunity, but along with that comes responsibility, and attached to that is law and order. You know,
Yeah.
we want everyone to be able to have an opportunity to thrive. You know, all
It was
communities.
it was one of the things we heard at the event this week. You know, people came from all over Georgia and mostly North Georgia, but there were some from Southern Georgia.
Yeah,
And one of the things that came up in a number of conversations was no matter where they're from, no matter what their background, people don't really want different things. They want, they want a decent opportunity for their family to succeed economically and be safe and have a good education, their kids to grow up and grow up in a good environment. It's really not that different for anybody, no matter where they're coming from. It's kind of as if it's been sitting there in front of us for decades, and we just didn't bother to think about it that way. But that was one of the themes that came out the other night.
that's right.
Um,
We as people are more alike than we are different. I think that's
mhm.
what you're saying.
Yes.
One of the other things that catapulted, and I was explaining this to Todd out in the hall, what catapulted me into podcasting is something that I never really looked to try to get into. But I just kept hearing, and the narrative in the country is, a white person is privileged or they're automatically racist, and me as a black man, I'm automatically a victim. That's not the reality, So I made this video called "A Gift Worth Fighting For," and just kind of, was on my soapbox about how I grew up, in a single parent home and everything, and how my coaches stood in the gap and everything like that. The reality is, most people are not born with a silver spoon in their mouth. We have decisions and choices that we have to make, and usually who we are is a makeup of that. But we can look at the past and say what it was, but the way, and this speaks to another thing, and I want to challenge every person in conservative leadership to sign on to an initiative that I'm calling No More Labels. And what I mean by that is, why should we in a conservative Republican Party, put labels? Why do we need to have a Hispanic conservative day, black conservative day? That whole idea is taking us right back to the very thing that we say that we are not and we don't want. That is diversity, equity, and inclusion. God made us all in the image of him, and all the rights that we have in this country should and shall apply to every single person that's in here. And what I would say to anyone that's coming into the party or that's already here, we're never going to win at that game. We should all go to the sticks together. And this is what I told Todd out in the hall. We should go to the sticks together and say, you know what? No more games, no more labels.
No hyphenated Americans.
That's right.
Yep.
You come into this party, you're becoming a part of one unit. We don't need different jersey colors within our party. And that's how we move together, and it's how we crush the narrative, because we are the party of inclusiveness.
That's right. So let's talk for a minute about your podcast, because I bet if people haven't yet found it, they'd love to hear more. So here's a clip of you interviewing Baron Reinhold, one of the candidates in Gwinnett. And you mentioned you were bringing on candidates. Have you started inviting existing House members or local officials and whatnot on the show as yet?
I have. We did the time schedule, just haven't lined up. I had Colton Moore actually supposed to come on, and that was the day when I just figured out that I probably needed to upgrade my system. Because I mean, literally, it's like computers know when we have stuff to do. Literally, like maybe like 5 or 10 minutes before I was supposed to have him come on, all my screens just went yellow. So it was really wild.
It's happened to us all. It's happened to us all. So, where do you post and broadcast the show, if you could share that?
So right now we're on Facebook, Rumble, Twitter, all the major social media platforms, but the
Mhm.
live streaming just happens right now on Facebook. We got to get on a multi-stream. That's another thing I was chatting with Todd about as well, to try to get it out all at the same time, because it'll
Yep.
also stop a whole bunch of downloading and uploading to all these different places. But that's Facebook. If you put in War Room Gwinnett County, pretty much on all platforms, all of that'll come up for you to be able to find us. But we
Well,
are
and
trying to get
you're going to be able to see the War Room Gwinnett on the Georgia Record soon. It'll be up there with our video section. So we're looking forward to that. So readers can find you there going forward.
absolutely.
That's great. Todd, other questions?
No, I think we'll
Well, we're excited about
move on.
everything you've shared, Antonio. It's, you're talking the language that we're hearing from the grassroots.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think we're all coming together for reasons that maybe we're supposed to.
That's it.
So
One party. One party. I hope you guys will jump on that initiative with me. And that's not to say that we don't, as a party, reach out to all different communities and do that strategically.
mhm.
But we have to wear one jersey and one banner together. One
Completely agree.
cause, one movement. And that will get rid of all of these, because when you give place for things to happen, the Bible say neither give place to the devil. So if we're gonna have all of these subgroups and all of that, I just don't see how that squares as as one.
Yep.
We can look across the board and see all of the diversity that we have. We don't necessarily have to check off a box. That's really not who we are. I think that will make us stronger, and that's just my view on it.
I think
Completely
you're right.
agree, Antonio.
We will look forward to having you back very, very soon. And congratulations in the meantime. Off to a great start.
Thanks, guys. I really
Thanks.
appreciate you having me on, and a pleasure meeting you too as well, Todd. Looking forward
Definitely,
to working
definitely. I
together.
really enjoyed it. More to
Good.
come, as Bill
All right.
says. Take care.
All
See
right.
ya. Great
And
guy.
you will be seeing more of Antonio. We have a video section on the Georgia Record a little ways down, and you'll be able to find his podcast going in the future.